Section 2.2, problem number 4, we're asked to decide whether or not the equation has a circle as its graph, and if it does, find the center and radius. If it does not, describe the graph. If it is a circle, then we can write the equation in center radius form, which is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared, where h and k are the coordinates of the center and the radius is r. So in order to make this general equation look like the center radius form, we want to use the method of completing the square. When we're using the method of completing the square, we're going to first group the x terms, x squared plus 10x. We're going to leave a blank. We're going to group the y terms, which is y squared, put a little plus here, y squared plus 2y, leave a blank, and then this plus 22 here, I'm going to move it to the other side by subtracting 22 from both sides. So I get negative 22, and I'm going to leave a blank. To figure out the value that goes in the blanks here, we take half of the second coefficient, which is 10, and square it. Half of 10 is 5. When you square 5, you get 25. So I'm going to add 25 to the left side of the whole equation, but to keep it balanced, I add 25 to the right side of the equation. To figure out what goes in the second blank, you're going to take half of 2, which is 1, and square it to get 1. Add 1 to both sides. Now we're going to factor the first three terms, x squared plus 10x plus 25. By using this method of taking half of whatever the coefficient is and squaring it, this should always end up as a perfect trinomial square. What that means is that when you factor it, the two separate factors are identical. So we know this is x and x. The factors of 25 that add up to 10 are 5 and 5. So the other way of writing this is x plus 5 quantity squared. We're going to factor the second group of three terms, y squared plus 2y plus 1. You can find the factors are y plus 1 and y plus 1. So we can write that as y plus 1, the quantity squared. Okay, then on the right side of the equation, we're going to combine a negative 22 plus 25, that's a positive 3, and then add 1 to it, that gives us 4. And 4 is the same thing as 2 squared. So you can determine the center of the circle would be the minus h. It would be the opposite of the 5. So it's going to be negative 5. Minus k here would be a negative 1. That's going to be your center. And the radius is going to be 2. We're going to check our answer here. Negative 5, negative 1, that's the center, and the radius of 2. Nice work. We are going to do the same steps for number 5. Again, we want to determine if the equation is a circle, and if it is a circle, find the center and radius. If it's not a circle, then we're going to describe the graph. Using the method of completing the square, I'm going to group the x terms together, x squared minus 10x, leave a blank, plus y squared plus 4y, leave a blank, and then on the right side I have negative 4, leave a blank. To figure out the number that goes in the blank, you take half of negative 10, which is negative 5, and you square it. That gives you a plus 25. Add 25 to the left side, you need to add 25 to the right side. The next blank, we take half of 4. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Add 4 to this blank and add 4 to the right side. Simplify by factoring the first three terms. The factors of 25 that I'll add up to negative 10. That's x minus 5 times x minus 5. Or we can simply write it as x minus 5 squared. Plus the factors of the three terms here. y plus 2 and y plus 2 would give us y plus 2, the quantity squared. And then the negative 4 plus 25 plus 4, combine those to get 25. We can now pick out the value for the center and the radius of the circle. Because we have x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared is equal to the radius squared, then our center is going to be our hk. Minus h is minus 5, so it's the opposite of the minus 5, positive 5. And then minus k, the opposite of the plus 2, is negative 2. And in order for the radius squared to be 25, the radius is 5. Check your answer. We end up with a circle, center of 5, negative 2, and the radius is 5. Nice work. We have one more. Question number 6. Decide whether the equation has a circle as its graph. If, like the other ones, we ended up finding the center and the radius. Let's see what happens here. We're going to do the method of completing the square by grouping x squared minus 4x, leave a blank, plus y squared minus 6y, leave a blank. This positive 13, and move it to the other side, it becomes a negative 13, leave a blank. To figure out what numbers go in the spaces provided, we have half of negative 4, which is negative 2, squared. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. Add 4 to both sides of the equation. Let's take half of negative 6. Half of negative 6 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. Add 9 to both sides. Simplify by factoring the first 3 terms. The factors here are x minus 2 quantity squared. And factor the last 3 terms. The factors are y minus 3 quantity squared. And now when we add these numbers together on the right side of the equation, negative 13 plus 4, that's negative 9 plus 9, we get 0. So if we think of this about the center of a circle, we can find the center has coordinates 2, 3, but the radius of this circle over here should be r squared, but r squared is 0, so that means the radius of the circle is 0. Now what kind of circle has a radius of 0? Well, it's no longer a circle if the radius is 0. The graph is simply just a point, and that would be choice C. We're going to check your answer, and we are finished with section 2.2.